the transition from being at Walmart one moment to, hey, there's guys with guns. Do we shoot these guys? And is my dope correct? What if I miss? What are the guys going to think of me if I miss? There's a lot more pressure, I think, in terms of you have a sniper school's pressure to graduate, but then you have your lives, or the lives of your guys and your teammates on the line.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Change Agents, an Ironclad original presented by Firecracker Farm. Today we're going to be talking about mental health, service, and perspectives from a special operations sniper. My guest today to talk about this is Nick Irving. Nick is a special operations sniper veteran who served with the 3rd Ranger Battalion in both Iraq and Afghanistan. His experiences in the War on Terror have served as the inspiration for his books, which include Never Fear Anything, My Untold Story as a Sniper in Our Nation's Longest War, as well as the newer releases, the Reaper novels, the latest addition to which, in the series Reaper, The Pale Horse, releases this month, December 2025. Let's dive into the show. Obviously, I'm aware that you were in the military, but if you want to paint the picture of maybe who you were before you joined and actually what got you to join the military to begin with.
Yeah, before, that's a good question. Who was I before? I was not a problem child. I got into trouble a lot in school and growing up. I come from a military family. Both my parents were in the Army. I was born overseas, Augsburg, Germany. I don't remember too much of Germany, but moving to the States in 1989, gosh, that sounds so long. 89, I moved to the States, and that's where I guess I understood a little bit. I got a chance. I remember certain things of my parents wearing uniforms and whatnot, especially my dad. When I was like the age of 6 or 7, going to CQ or staff duty with him at one point, and I think that's where like the idea of wanting to join the military kind of, spiked or piqued my interest. I didn't know what it was. I used to wear his Army boots and his spit shine boots and stuff. And, that was like my introduction to it. I had no real clue of what it was. It just intrigued me. And I always looked up to my dad. My dad he's a very quiet guy. To this day, we didn't have the typical father-son relationship. He was very, very strict. And he, 80% of my memories, this is going to sound bad, but it's not, of my dad were just very strict, didn't talk much, a lot of discipline type of guy.
Yeah.
He's a hands-on guy. I would say, man, I really wanted to explore the military. It had to have been like the 5th or 6th grade. That's around that time when, grades, my school was really bad at that point. I wasn't really trying that much. I got into, a lot of fights. I got suspended a lot and on the verge of getting expelled from school. And I knew that was like my only outlet, my only option. And just the crowd that I was running around with, like no one had the intent of going to college. Like that wasn't a thought. I didn't grow up around college people. It was either like, it's going to sound really bad, but like my not options, but if I were to stay at home, I knew I was going to sell drugs or rob drug dealers. That was like the stick going around, where I grew up back then. You rob a drug dealer or you sell drugs. And, just based on what I saw from the guys that I grew up with, they all ended up arrested. Some are still in prison and some are dead. So military was like the only outlet for me. And my dad was a big Charlie Sheen fan, Chuck Norris, Local Force fan. So it was like, that was like a cool man's job. What I envisioned like a man to be, a Chuck Norris or Bruce Lee or, Charlie Sheen. So that was like, I guess my outlet, watching those movies with my dad and wanting to be like those guys. My dad was an intel guy. He didn't, put boots on. And when you put boots on, he didn't go to combat
Yeah,
or
it's a
anything
different
like
role.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Desk job. I didn't want to do that. I was an active kid. I played football. I boxed growing up, and I was an active kid, but the whole originally I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. So that was you know, uh, I told my elementary school teachers, middle school, high school teachers, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm going to be a Navy SEAL. Um, and I held on to that dream forever until I went to go take uh, we went to, not the ASVAB, but I took the ASVAB, failed it the first time. I was not smart enough to be a SEAL. I didn't even know that you had to be intelligent to even be a warfighter. So I
Let
failed
me
the
tell you,
first.
as somebody who was a SEAL, I didn't realize there was an intelligence requirement because I obviously skipped that test because you and I wouldn't
No.
be talking today if they gave me that one.
No, you guys are way smarter than the Army.
I don't know, man. I could give you
I'm
some
telling you.
shining examples.
I don't know. Dive charts, dive tables, all that, the math. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Navy Sea Cadet Corps in Annapolis. I went to a Baby SEAL program when I was 15 and took the Navy SEAL physical fitness test. And
Yeah.
I think it was like a 500-meter swim, the
Yep.
2.5 mile run, and passed that. And I, was on the way to being a SEAL, I thought, until I took the color vision test, and I can't see red or green the way
Huh.
normal humans can see red or green. And that that shattered my
Wow.
dream. So I cried dude, I went home crying, cried. I went on we had dial-up internet back then, and I studied what I thought were all the possible outcomes for an Easy Horror color vision test. And that's like the most I've ever studied in my life. And I memorized the patterns of what I saw.
Yeah.
And I went there the second time, and they had a completely different test for me. And I flunked out again. And I was bawling at this point. Like, I'm not going to stay in Maryland, in Baltimore. And there was no way. So this Army nurse, she had heard me crying in the adjacent room. She came over and she had talked to a Army recruiter. Then they both came over and she administered the color vision test, but she traced her fingers along the numbers that were inside the little pixelated Easy Horror test.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, passed that 14 out of 14. And the only stipulation, I had to join the Army. And the only question I had at that point, I was like, what do you have that is the closest thing to being a Navy SEAL? And they were like, well, we have Green Berets and we have Rangers. I knew what a Green Beret was, but I kind of didn't like at the time, I didn't like the job description. I didn't want to be a teacher. So Rangers is what it was. And they told me that being a Ranger was like being a SEAL, except we don't swim. And I'm like, I'm fine, perfect with that. We swam a little bit, but it was nothing compared to what you guys do, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was all she wrote after that, and went on to I had no idea other than Black Hawk Down, and I didn't even like Rangers and Black Hawk Down. I like the Delta Force guys. I like the
Of
Tier 1
course.
guys. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what's fascinating is I didn't realize for a long time, because we would deploy with Rangers quite a bit, and they would provide blocking forces, not similar to Black Hawk Down. That's an interesting movie because in some of that you could view those kids as really inexperienced and in over their head, but also at the same time, I mean, they slugged it out in the streets, like living up, you know what I mean? Like they were doing a very complex job. So you can view it from two different ways. I didn't realize how many people are at Ranger Battalion that haven't gone through Ranger School yet. That was something I didn't realize until after I had deployed with them. And remember a guy was in a turret of, I think it was a Humvee. He was talking about after the deployment, he was getting ready to go to Ranger School. I was like, what are you talking about? You're already in the turret, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I was one of those guys. I went, I think 2 deployments. Yeah. 2 or 3 deployments before I went to Ranger School. I went to Ranger School in 2007.
Damn.
But I had already deployed twice before that. And Ranger School was just like a suck fest. There were a couple of SEALs in our Ranger School program, and I thought that was weird.
We used to send people there for DUIs.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, there were like two guys in there, and I was like, this is weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Pre 9/11, it was DUI punishment. They're like, listen, you're going to survive this, but first, you're going to go hang out with the Army for a bit. And you'd come back like
Wow.
40 pounds lighter.
So it's a punishment.
It used to be. I can't speak to the modern era. I mean, you
Okay.
know as well as I do, it's actually a leadership course. People
yeah.
could mistake it for you, come out of there as this expert tactician. And of course, tactics are covered while you're in the course. But it actually is, from my understanding at least, is categorized as a leadership course.
Exactly. Yeah, learn how to lead, platoon size element, squad size element, and, sleep deprived, food deprived. And
Yep.
you're walking, Dahlonega, Georgia, the mountains of, Dahlonega, Georgia, the swamps of Florida, and the, Darby phase in Fort Benning, which is, But the whole course sucked for me. I failed Darby phase, and I vowed to myself I was never gonna recycle again. So I completed it in its entirety the second go around. Well, I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit
Yeah.
just about everything. Every day I wanted to quit something, even in Ranger selection. Every day I woke up, but it was just getting to that next point. I'm sure it's like that for you guys too. You just get to the next evolution, get to the next. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the key. Yeah, it's the people who give up are the ones who they can't see past the next evolution, or they just they look at like, hey, I'm on day 1 and I have 80 more days to go. I can't do this, as opposed to like, I'm just going to get through lunch and then take what's coming next. Yeah, it's the key, man, for sure.
I apply that to life to this day. Yeah.
I do too. It's one of the most powerful
yeah.
lessons that I took forward is the ability to take a bite. And there is no answer for how small or big a bite is, because the people will ask like, oh, okay, how big? I'm like, dude, I don't know. What's your appetite? What can you tolerate?
Right.
Like some things for me, I'm taking a pea size. For other ones, I'm jamming a whole piece of pizza in my mouth. It really depends on what we're getting ourselves into.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So where in that did you go down the sniper pathway? And so I was a sniper in the SEAL teams. I'm familiar with our school. I'm not very familiar with the Army sniper school. If you could break that one down for me.
Yeah. It was 2000 right after Ranger School. So 2008 or late 2007, we have our own selection course in Ranger Battalion. It's like a mock U.S. Army sniper school. A couple of weeks long. We do our, the shoot in. Then we have a mental aptitude, test, psychology test, and that's pretty much it. And a few stalking lanes, before they ship you off to, I think it's a 3-week or 4-week, maybe 5-week. Dude, I honestly don't remember how long U.S. Army Sniper School even is. 5 weeks. And stationed out in Fort Benning, Georgia. We have one now in the National Guard. We would send guys to the National Guard one. I went through the Fort Benning one. I believe it's 5 weeks. And yeah, dude, it was like, it wasn't what I expected. I thought it was going to be way more shooting, but it was more so, the mathematics behind ballistics and, stalking lanes and, field craft and things of that nature. Maybe 20%, 30% shooting. It was stressful, especially like when you come closer to the graduation portion, where you have to, they give you 2 rounds and you have to shoot unknown distance target, and you and your spotter work through it, and you graduate. Very small graduation. We only had, I think we were allowed 1 invitation. My wife came in a small classroom, graduated. That was the easy part. Most of our training really came from just being in regiment, working with the platoons, and seeing how we were going to use our tactics. Because sniper school was more so like woodland environment. We had the urban stuff too, but going to Iraq and Afghanistan, like they're totally 2 different things, as far, it's totally different. So most of our training came during the 6-month train up before our 4-month deployment. And that's like where we learned most of our tactics and training.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are rapidly approaching the holiday season, which means that you need to be thinking about gifts. If you want to give a gift that actually has some substance, that everyone really loves, I'll highly recommend a product that I personally use every day and can stand behind. Firecracker Farm Hot Salt. Firecracker Farm is a sponsor, yes, but that's not why I talk about them. I choose to do so because it's a genuinely great product. It's fantastic, small batch, made with care, and it delivers. Delicious is really an understatement. It has the perfect heat to flavor ratio that you can fully control and elevates everything you put it on, from eggs to steak to chicken, or even as something as simple as pasta. The gear is solid too. It comes in a really nice stainless steel push grinder. It's well built and feels right in your hand. I have to say, it has a great tactile quality that makes it super satisfying to use. I'm telling you, you want this, and it makes an awesome gift. The best part is, when you buy one, you're supporting a small American family business, and you're buying something that's truly high quality that you'll use every single day. Alex and his family put a ton of love and dedication into this product. One small catch, you are not going to find this on Amazon last minute. They make hot salt in small batches, and inventory goes quickly. So if you want this, you need to make the move now, because they are going to sell out. So get your gift shopping done today. Head over to firecracker.farm and use the code Ironclad, all caps, all one word, at checkout, and you're going to get 10% off of your order. Today's episode is brought to you by Hollow Socks. Let me give you some insight into your average guy. Your average dude, especially an outdoorsman, will use a hunter, based off where I live in Montana, will spend at least $10K on a full setup. $2,000 on a scope, $3,000 on a hunting rifle, and maybe that much on a lease. $1,000 in camo, all the scent blocking products. But if you were to ask them to spend 40 or 50 bucks for the best pair of hunting socks that money can buy, they're gonna ignore it, and they're going to wonder why their feet are clammy and cold and they are uncomfortable all day long. This is where Hollow Socks come in. These are alpaca socks built for the field. These are performance grade socks made from ultra soft baby alpaca fibers, engineered for rugged conditions and designed to keep your feet dry, warm, and comfortable no matter where your day may take you. They're the only socks that will keep your feet warm below freezing and then cooled off when it hits 80 degrees. For a limited time, Hollow Socks is having a buy two, get two free sale. Head to hollowsocks.com today to check it out. That is hollowsocks.com for up to 50% off of your order. After your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. You can support the show by telling them that we sent you. I'm trying to remember too, I went through sniper school in it was either 99 or 2000.
Oh, wow.
And it was a split too. It was straight shooting. We did our shooting out in Coalinga, which was an abandoned range that they had to close down because people were getting like this rare upper respiratory disease.
Oh,
because
wow.
we were, laying in cow shit essentially on the line.
Really?
And then we did all of our stalking out near the Chocolate Mountains at our desert facility. So it was like sagebrush and and none of that was urban. None of that was mountainous. But I look back, and it probably was, of all the schools I went through, other than comm school, I mean, it taught you about camouflage, concealment, dead space. Like, it had vast applicability to things outside of just this shooting. But yeah, it probably was less shooting than I thought it was going to be. You think you're just going to wake up and you're jamming mags full of bullets. You're like,
that's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I hope for.
It's just, you're sitting there milling Coke bottles trying to figure out how far away you are because you can't have a laser rangefinder.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing. Same thing.
Yeah, man. What were your thoughts? I didn't actually get to, so I went from sniper school. I didn't actually get to use that skill set until 2010, my last deployment. Because, I went to a JSOC unit where they had a sniper cell associated with it. I never went up to the sniper cell. I was just one of the assaulters. So it wasn't until 2010 when we were back in Afghanistan. We were most of the time way offset. So, 600-700 yards would be probably the closest.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that you were going to take. What were your, what was it like for you transitioning from, we'll call it the school mindset to actually being overseas and making that decision on your own?
Complete 180. It was never like my first engagement. I would say we didn't train for it. It was just, we didn't train for it. Being on a rooftop somewhere, overwatching our guys as they exfil, and targets of opportunity pop up in a tree line. And they're not like your, pop-up targets you hold on a stick.
A snap and mover. You're like, it's presenting itself.
They're human beings. And it's like, these guys are moving, maneuvering. They have machine guns, AK-47s. And the first thought in my mind, that whole mission, it was, we were only less than a day in country and we're hitting our first target. And like to the transition from being at Walmart one moment to, hey, there's guys with guns. do we shoot these guys? And is my dope correct? What if I miss? What are the guys going to think of me if I miss? There's a lot more pressure, I think, uh, in terms of like, you have a sniper school's pressure to graduate, but then you
Yeah.
have your lives, of the lives of your guys and your teammates on the line, and about to take a life. It was totally different. I was a machine gunner and assaulter prior to all that, but looking through a scope was totally different. Like, wait, I'm about to just end this guy, me and my spotter. And it was complete. I had no ghillie suit on. I had my assaulter sniper, get up and on a rooftop, a flat mud hut rooftop. And 300 yards away is, three guys in a wood line right as the sun is coming up. And that was the first engagement that I had. It was not what I expected, but after it happened, it almost didn't feel real, after
Yeah.
everything settled. It didn't feel real at all. It was just, wow. Like, hard to explain. It was not like the movies or anything.
Yeah. It's funny you bring up the ghillie suit. The only time I ever wore that was in sniper school. And then I never
Same.
touched that. God, I hate that thing to this day, though. I don't know how
Yeah.
much weight I lost crawling around in the desert.
Yep. But because of all that work we put into it, I almost wanted to wear mine in combat.
God, I did not. You know what?
You
You're a
didn't?
different breed than
No?
I. No, I would rather burn that thing and give away my position to an enemy soldier than. No, I found it to be different too. The first time I had ever engaged somebody was not with my sniper rifle. It was when I was an assaulter, and it was a closer proximity with almost no time to make a decision.
Same, yeah.
And that's in those closer decisions or that closer proximity, it was binary. You're like, oh, like action reaction.
Yeah.
I found myself giving people more rope through the scope of my rifle because I wanted to be sure. I had more time to make a decision. I had more time to watch it play out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it was harder, but I definitely gave people more rope.
How old were you?
Not if they were like an imminent. Say again.
How old were you when you first engaged as a sniper?
Let me see. It was 2010. So 33.
Okay. Yeah. You were, mature mind.
Yeah.
I was still young and dumb.
On the other end, as an assaulter, 25.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So it, I mean, again, don't get me wrong. If there was a exigent threat, no rope given.
Yeah.
But you know the deal. Sometimes, like, why is this person moving in this way? Why are they going to that position? Why are they trying to get on you know what I mean? It's not as cut and dry as people are like, every enemy is sneaking around with their AK and they're wearing like enemy combatant written across their chest and like an army PT belt.
Yeah. I wish they did.
God, why can't they? I'm wearing a uniform. Why can't they?
Yep. I used to hate having to make the phone call, not the phone call, but call over the comms to my commander, the ground force commander. And he'd say the same thing. Let's watch, let it wait out, play itself out. And before we take that shot. And luckily most of the guys were just stupid and they, ended up doing something dumb anyways, but yeah.
What do you make, how did those experiences, after you got out of the military, how did those experiences sit with you? How did they shape your life?
During the time, I didn't think too much of it. It was like, I would say a year after I got back. Like, I thought about stuff after my last deployment, but it was mainly guys who I, watched die. But as far as like the killing stuff, I would say that's a tough one. I mean, subconsciously, I probably did think about it and I tried to drown it away. Just copious amounts of alcohol.
Classic technique. Classic.
Yeah, very classic, right? And subconsciously, maybe I thought about it, but I would say when I got older, a year or two after, like a weird dream would pop up, or I would see something on TV or a movie, and I would think about, oh yeah, I remember shooting this one guy who looked like this, or who was doing this, X, Y, and Z. I don't feel bad about, I don't know how I would say that. I don't like anymore. I don't feel bad anymore about it. I think I've made my peace with with all that stuff, but it was a long struggle for years of, putting myself maybe in their shoes, or the what ifs, I didn't know this guy. I don't know. It was just it's a mind game. I played the mind game for a few years. And I think like nearing the birth of my son was more so, I guess, coming to peace with it and wanting to change, not holding on to so much stuff that, you know, um, stuff that I saw overseas and did overseas. And I just wanted to be a dad at that point.
Yeah. How old are you now?
Oh, I'm 39 now. I just had my birthday, November 28th. Me and my son, we share a birthday. So he turned
That was
9.
like
I
5 days ago.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. What do you,
39.
so now, yeah, so I'm 48 now. I've been out for a while. I got out the last day of June in 2013. They
Oh,
medically
wow.
retired me.
You
So
were
I
in
got
for a while.
almost 17 years, 1 month shy of 17 years. I just say 17. I figure the government can spot me the month because it's easier than saying 16 years, 11 months in like 2 days.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Why not the full 20?
my body couldn't do it anymore. I got
Okay.
injured while I was at the JSOC command. I had to come back. I recovered. I switched over from being enlisted to an officer for my last 5 years. And the career wickets I would have had to hit along the way,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been pretty deployment heavy. And my body, man, it was not tolerating it. And I'm not somebody who is willing to, in my own career aspirations, put other people in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I made the call to get out. So now I've been out now. I look forward to the day I've been out for as long as I was in. But
Wow.
I'm curious your thoughts on this, because as you get older, the experiences we had as younger men, I mean, the
And it-
experiences we've been talking about they're unique in their own way. And I'm glad that not many people experience them, because they do
yeah.
come with some gravity and weight for your entire life, at least in my experience. But I actually have a different relationship with them now. And I'm curious if for me at this point, I don't think I would change any of the decisions that I made, because I made them off the best information that I had at the time. I didn't
Yep.
have malicious intent. I was trying to do the best that I could possibly do for the reasons that I believed that I was there for.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it actually, being around that for me, I think has allowed me to become a better version of myself, whether that's
Mm-hmm.
appreciating things more or loving more deeply, or, same thing for my kids. I had kids. All 3 of my kids were born by the time I did that last deployment in 2010. And man, what a reminder of, put the phone down, be present, spend the time with the kids,
Oh man.
especially when you've been around people who are having their last moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious your thoughts on the relationship with those experiences now as you get older.
As I get older, I'm nearing, I think, where you are now. Um, Nearing it. I'm very proud of what I like, dude. I went through a roller coaster of, you know, gung ho to depressed. I call it depressed, self-medicating.
Yeah.
Just not the best version I can be or could have been. To making peace with it. There's only one thing that stands out that I wish I could have changed. And it was just at the time, young, tired, been awake for almost 5 days. And I wish I would have done something different on this one mission. But that's the only one that, like, I guess really sticks with me and haunts me. Other
Yeah.
than that, I'm proud of what I've done. I would not change anything. And I think it's made me who I am today. Uh, I would not be who I am today. Like, I'm not going to say tougher. I have a tougher mindset. I'm not so weak-minded. And I know things could always be 10 times worse than what they are. And learning how to get through things, push through things. I don't get so caught up on the little things now, things that used to make me mad as a younger me. I don't get so irritated and so caught up on it. But yeah, I'm definitely, I'm proud of what I've accomplished and what I've done. I wouldn't change it for the world. And there's a part of me also that wishes I would have maybe stayed in another push, another rotation, just to see where things would have gone, or tried out
Yeah.
for, the tier 1 unit on our end, just to see where I would have gone on, if I would have taken that route. I don't think I would have made it. I don't think so, but I would have loved to see how I would have maneuvered that obstacle course. But other than that, I don't regret anything. I don't regret anybody, that I've had to eliminate, because I look at it, there's a million, not a million, but there's tons of other guys who've been in the same situation, if not worse than me, and they've had to do the same exact thing. I'm not better than anyone else or whatever. I mean, there was a very egotistical point in my life where, just getting out to this alpha dog male who just wants to, you know, how it is, man. And
Yeah.
I let that go, and I realized, dude, there's grunts who do 10 times and seen 10 times more stuff, and they don't, I don't know how they cope with it, if they do cope with it, but you don't see them, making a hoopla about it. So who am I?
For sure.
Yeah.
What year did you get out?
2010.
Okay.
2010, and contracted to 2012 after that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is also brought to you by Aura. Have you ever wondered how scammers get people's info so easily? It's because data brokers are out there collecting everything: old addresses, phone numbers, family connections, even little details most people don't even remember about themselves. And they just sell it. No consent, no safeguards. Anyone with a credit card can buy it. It is insane. And once you actually see what these brokers claim to know, it feels like privacy doesn't exist anymore. That's why a lot of people are turning to Aura. Aura does the heavy lifting, finding the sites, selling personal information, getting it removed, and keeping it off. Other services do some of this, but nothing comes close to the amount of protection Aura folds into one plan. You get dark web alerts, real-time fraud alerts for banking and credit, 24/7 identity monitoring, a VPN, antivirus, password manager, even $5 million in identity theft insurance, with US experts ready to help anytime. You can try Aura free for 14 days at aura.com/ironclad. In those 2 weeks, Aura starts scrubbing the personal information off data broker sites, and nobody should have their whole life up for sale. And Aura actually does something about it. Are you looking for the perfect gift for the tactical or preparedness enthusiast in your life? TechPack delivers professional grade gear every month, including EDC essentials, tactical tools, and training aids, perfect for anyone who takes their gear seriously. This December, TechPack gets even better. The December Plus box is going to be packed with exclusive training tools, EDC equipment, and high-value items designed to level up any gear setup. They are also offering special holiday boxes. There's going to be a Christmas and Black Friday edition, and they are going to be stacked with premium high-quality gear, making them the perfect gift for yourself or someone on your list. And right now, if you use the code IRONCLAD, all one word, all caps, you're going to get a free tactical gift worth $70, bringing your total value to over $400 for signing up. So visit TacPack.com, use code IRONCLAD, and get the kind of gear that doesn't just sit on the shelf. What are your thoughts now? So, I mean, we're like 12, 13 years away from when both of us got out. Both wars are over. What are your thoughts on both of those theaters of war, looking back on it now, versus what you thought about it when you were in? Because my thoughts have shifted pretty drastically.
Oh yeah, same. When we were in, or when I was in, I was doing a job. Like I signed up. I couldn't wait to sign up after seeing the World Trade Centers fall. We got off of school early that day, and I was in biology class, 11th grade, 10th grade, and watching that whole thing happen, and wanting to go fight and take it to the enemy, then actually getting a chance to go fight and take it to them. It was a job, and I felt like I was really a part of something, or not 3 years. I got out in 2000. I graduated 2004. 2001 is when it happened. So 3 years. It was, I felt like I was doing a job, definitely. And I felt like we were doing the right thing, in Iraq and Afghanistan. I got older, and even, well, I would say like towards the end of my career, as far as deploying, after your unit or another unit kills so many high value number one targets in a region, and like the very next day, another guy pops up and he's just as bad or just as worse as the guy you just killed or something. I think that's when I started to question, like, they're like, this is going to sound bad also, but like roaches, where they just keep coming back, and you kill one, and it was like rodents, roaches. And I had like a unhealthy, unhealthy view on those particular people in that region, like an unhealthy view, as far as a human to human aspect goes. And I still have my thoughts. I don't think that I'm not going to say that. I still have my thoughts about that region and certain people over there.
Yeah.
But now having been out, do I think we went over there for the right reasons? Um, I wish we would have done things differently. I'm not sure about Iraq. I don't know. I think we could
Same
have
here.
maybe. Okay, yeah.
Afghanistan, I feel like we were responding to something that happened in the
Yep.
region. I think we didn't need to be there for 20 years. I think we certainly
Yep.
could have changed how we executed and then particularly left.
Exactly.
Iraq, man, I remember arguing with my father, who was a Vietnam vet. He was just like, I've fucking seen this movie before. I know how the end credits go. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. I've
Your
seen
dad.
Intel. Yeah.
Wow.
He was, and it was like, we weren't like screaming at each other, but he was, after experience in Vietnam, he's like, should be an absolute measure of last resort. And then I am as a young man, wanting to go test myself. Like, I want the WMD info to be true. I remember we were staged in Saudi Arabia when they launched the cruise missiles over the top, and
Wow.
so yeah, I was there for OIF 1. And
The whole shock and awe campaign, right?
yeah, yep.
Oh,
shock and
wow.
awe. And then we hit the #1 chem bio target that night. Flew 4 hours in, 4 hours. It was an agricultural school. It was ridiculous.
Oh,
We had looked at the
wow.
intel for like 3 months, hit it in MOP level 4. So I could like barely even see
Oh
where I was
my
going anyway.
gosh.
It was horrible.
Oh, why?
It was horrible. And I look back at that one and like, man, I had some things I could say to my younger self. But
What'd you
I don't
say?
even. I still was where I wanted to be with the people that I wanted to be with. I would have probably been a lot more cautious about the story we were being told.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have been so supportive of beating my chest and wanting to beat the war drum to go test myself personally.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't think we went to Iraq for the right reasons. I mean, I think the boots on the ground soldiers did the best that they could, as they always do with the situation they're presented with.
Mm-hmm.
But I think more than anything, man, we got to show the power of influential people in the government on that one, the power of the military industrial complex. And it shows we're better at breaking things than putting things back together as the military, for sure.
Do you think we could potentially be headed towards, or in the future, sometime in the future, encounter the same scenario?
I don't know. I mean, one of the questions I have in the production notes, if you look at the guy, the 2 National Guard soldiers who just got shot in DC, it happened from an Afghan national that was vetted by the agency. And I will say this, there's a difference between vetting somebody to fight a mutual enemy in the country that they live in versus being vetted to immigrate into a country. And I don't know if people realize this, there's no like DMV paperwork in Afghanistan. There's no rough, massive database that the agency is going. They're like, we're going to go call NCIS Kabul and pull the file on this guy. There is no file.
Mm-hmm.
So the vetting to work there, but again, and then this goes to how we left that country and the massive, and we were trying to do the right thing, right? Like we don't want to leave our allies behind. These people sacrificed. But if I was a smart enemy, I 100% would have infiltrated that system. Yep. So I mean, I hate to catastrophize and I don't want to, but I do think that there is 100% risk. Not that there's 100% risk. I think that there is a risk that something like that will happen again.
Yep.
I don't
just
think
talked
that what
about
happened
this today.
Yeah.
I definitely, I think with the holidays coming around, and not even just the holidays, but I definitely see something happening again. It was too easy for him, unfortunately, but I don't think he's the only one who's going to, try something like that. Whatever his intentions were.
Yeah,
do we know that?
It's improbable that he'd be the only one, because people I don't think they understand.
Yep.
And I'm sure you worked with partner force. Like I worked with the ANA and the ANP, and it's like, you do the best you can, but a lot of them get the job based off of a family member recommendation, and you know nothing about the family or the person. And we're just trying to vet people that can work with us so we can have an Afghan face to the American operations. That doesn't, you know what I mean? I know people want to believe that like this vetting, when they say CIA vetted, I'm like, guys, they had the information that they had, and it's not the same as bringing these people over to the country. I think it's improbable that that was the last time that we'll see something like that.
Jeez. I hope it's not coordinated, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Because imagine if there had been, well, I don't want to give anybody ideas, but you and I know how few people it would take in a very non-complex manner to scare the living shit out of everybody in this country.
Yep. Me and my wife talk about it. She's had dreams about it. We talk about it like to that extent of how many soft targets there are in America, and it would shut down. It would shut down a lot. If not, the morale of America, the spirit of America it would take one. It would take a chunk out of it. If there were not even that many guys to coordinate something small, it would be devastating.
And then where do you point the anger? You know, that 9/11 was interesting because it was a physical infrastructure attack largely, which we could geographically trace back to some areas in Afghanistan and individuals. I mean, what do you do when these people were working by, with, and through us, made their way back to the United States? I mean, yeah, we can have anger at our own systems for either moving too quickly or not planning our withdrawal or whatever it may be, but that's tough.
Yeah.
You know, where do you point that desire for, I mean, it's going to start off with a desire for revenge and payback.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I don't know. You don't go back to Afghanistan for sure. That's a good, gosh, that's a tough one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I again, I'm always super vague when I talk about the things that keep, let's just say this. My mind is very creative, probably far too creative than it should be. And if you're anything like me, oftentimes I'll just look at things tactically and go, well, this is what I would do.
Yeah.
And then I just say nothing about it because, again, I don't want to give people a template because the reality is, man, the veneer is thin.
Yeah.
It's thin.
Very, very. It's scary. I think we get us as Americans. I mean, I think it's a good thing to a degree that we are like that as a whole, as a country, that we are kind of but it's not a good place to be where you're like so complacent that you don't notice or see the potential of the bad things that can happen. But I also don't want to, you know, I'm the same guy that, like, if I have a weird thought at night, I'll wake up and make sure my guns are in the right order and check some locks and clear the house a little bit. I still do that to this day. But
I do, but that's just because we're crazy.
Okay, then it's normal then.
It's normal given the cohort of people that we came from. I mean, I'm sorry, you know, not all experiences are created the same, and some things, when you touch them, they touch you back. That's how I describe war to people. If you touch war, it touches you back. It can make you better. I truly believe in post-traumatic growth. I wish we could center the conversation around that more than post-traumatic disorder, because I do believe you can go from one to the other. But yeah, also, when you have been around that level of violence or evil, depending on your definition, you know that it exists. It makes you want to go check, like, did I actually lock the door? Did I put this where I want it? You know what I mean? It's just, you've encountered it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I'm curious your thoughts on this, because I don't know where I land on this. What are your thoughts on the kinetic strikes on the drug boats in international water coming out of Venezuela? And I ask because, and I don't know where I land on this, because this is like new territory for the U.S. a little bit. And I don't know where this goes to.
Well, they just shut down the airspace, I believe, 2 days ago or yesterday?
I heard Trump tweeted that it was shut down. I don't know what the hell that means. When the president tweets something, does that mean it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I have no idea either. I might get hate for it. I kind of agree with it, just because, I mean, look what they're bringing over, you know? It's like biological warfare, I guess, or, you know, chemical warfare. I've lost a friend to the same drugs that they're bringing over 2 years ago. And it's, it's something that I don't want to see in the hands of Americans. There are innocent people, if you want to call it that. I mean, everybody has their thing. You know, some people indulge in bourbon, some people I'm not going to judge anybody for what they do on their free time. I don't agree with half of it, but it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
do I agree with what Trump is doing and knocking out these boats? Yeah, I think it's funny a little bit. I think that it's making a statement. I don't see anything wrong with it at all. Um, I think we've been like too lackadaisical on the entire war on drugs, anyways. Do I think it's a winnable war? No. I mean, Joe Schmo down the street could make enough, methamphetamine to supply God knows who. Um, but that's for local, I think, law enforcement to take care
Yeah.
of. But drug running boats, and if he's knocking them down, I don't see anything wrong with it necessarily.
Yeah, it's interesting to see people's reaction. It's there's definitely a cohort, and they're very vocal online. I don't know if they would, if the drug boat was almost sinking because it was full of drugs and it had a neon sign on it that was flashing drug boat coming to the US,
Mhm.
and Trump made the decision to bomb it, they would hate that because he made the decision. So there's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
cohort of people
yeah,
that regardless of what is happening, whether it's a legitimate target or
yeah,
not, despise it because of the person making the decision. And I try to
exactly.
stay out of that because that's a very emotionally based headspace. And I'm the same way. I'm like, live your life how you want to. If you want to be emotionally reactive, as
Mhm.
long as you're not preying upon children and vulnerable people, I actually don't give a
Yeah,
shit largely what
yeah.
you do in your life. So like, do your best. But I look and, some people, oh, how do you know that they're drug runners and not people out who are sport fishing? I'm like, have you ever seen a sport
Come
fishing
on.
boat?
Yeah, come
Do they
on.
look like a cigarette boat with
Right?
six 450 horsepower motors on the back, navigating just outside of international waters at a
Yeah,
speed you
come
can't
on.
fish from in the middle of the night? Like, what world are we talking about
Yeah,
here?
yeah, yeah. And you're right. I think a lot of people, they see who made the call and they automatically,
Yeah.
they hate it because of that, because Trump said, do this. I think we're in such like a weird political climate nowadays that Trump could like hand out red roses to every woman and female and child in America, and somebody would hate it. You know,
Yeah.
I think we're in such a weird political climate right now that you got one side that's going to hate him just because, no matter what he does, and if he does something good, they're still going to hate him because it's not their guy in power. I don't. Yeah, I think it's all weird to me.
Yeah. And I think if you go and you talk to family members of people who have lost loved ones to drug overdosing, and you can, and not all drugs are coming from Venezuela. There's, the
No.
fentanyl and cartels and all this thing and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But if you were to go talk to a family member that was directly impacted by somebody, and you could walk the breadcrumbs back to a boat like that and people like that being involved directly, starting from its point of origin to getting to the US, and ask them, what are your thoughts on this? You're going to get an answer, I think, that is far different than those people's emotional reaction. And then it's not to justify it, but these are the things I think about. It's definitely something that the US hasn't done to my knowledge before. I don't know where it moves the line to, but yeah, I have a hard time. I mean, again, as long as the due diligence is put in, and there's so many steps along the way of intelligence and identifying these things and ensuring that it's a legitimate target. If those steps are made and it meets the criteria for a military target, I fall in the same boat as you do. I don't have an issue with that because I
Yeah.
know what the extension of that becomes, and I don't want to see that for anybody either. You
Yep.
know?
Yep. Yeah. And
Yeah.
you're right. I don't know where it goes from here. Like, do we just keep it, airstrikes on drug running boats, or what's the next step? Like,
Yeah, it's like we said. Now we have, like, what if we find a vehicle in Mexico City that we think is full of fentanyl? Do we strike
oh,
that with the drone? I'm like, okay, you know what I
oh,
mean? Like, that's just
yeah,
where I wonder where the escalation goes to.
oh, huh. That's a tough one. Oh, wow, man. What I don't want to see is another drawn out war, and I don't want to see,
Same.
17, 18-year-old kids. I get there's a time and place where we have to put, boots on the ground and risk it all. But I don't want to see it, the way we had to fight our war for, 20 plus odd years, and the trauma that comes with that and the way we leave. No, I don't know how war is even going to be fought in the future from now on. It might just be drone warfare. I wouldn't mind it. It kind of keeps, not going to say, uh, young people safe. And it's not even about that. I don't know what it is anymore. I know that when I walk through Arlington Cemetery, or when I go to DC and I walk through and I see the names written on walls, and I can look at my wall and see guys that I've lost. I know it does hurt, and I don't.
Yeah.
I'd rather see no more names etched on stone. You know, if it were up to me, I'd rather not see any of that anymore. But I know there's going to be a time and a place. I just hope that we do it the right way and have an exit strategy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Mizzen and Main. I tell you what, this was a wild one when this organization reached out to sponsor the show, because I have actually been wearing their product for the better part of a decade. I spent a good portion of every year traveling the world doing public speaking, and the only clothes that I wear when I do so are Mizzen and Main. They look amazing, incredibly professional, but they are by far the most comfortable professional/athletic technology wear that I have ever worn. Mizzen and Main makes classic menswear with performance fabrics, so it's effortless to look sharp and feel great. The shirts and pants, they look very refined, yet they are stretchy, lightweight, moisture wicking, wrinkle resistant, and completely machine washable, so no ironing or dry cleaning is required. These things are super easy to travel with as well. Mizzen and Main is a veteran-led organization committed to supporting those who have served. They offer a year-round military discount and proudly give back to veteran organizations. Right now, Mizzen and Main is offering our listeners 20% off your first purchase at mizzenandmain.com. Promo code Ironclad20. That is all one word, all uppercase. Mizzenandmain.com, promo code Ironclad20. And if you'd rather shop in person, you can find Mizzen and Main in stores in select states. Tell me about your endeavors post-military, this Reaper series. I'm interested.
Yes, sir.
What do you got? How'd you come to this desire that you wanted to become an author?
I'm a big Tom Clancy fan. As much as I hate it,
obviously. Hold on. What's at the apex for you, Tom Clancy-wise? What's the top?
Oh my top?
Yes.
We're going to go way back, and it's a movie. It's based on, we're basing it on, from what I grew up as a kid, Hunt for Red October.
You know what? I was going to say the same thing. You and I are going to get along just fine.
Yeah, I watched it too. My wife hates me for it. Clear and Present Danger, Hunt for Red October.
Both classics.
Classics. Those are my holiday classics, boredom classics, need to go to sleep classics. Yeah. Those are mine.
I mean, plus Sean Connery, I mean, come on. Playing a Russian with a Scottish accent. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Doesn't get any better. Doesn't get any better. One of the greatest actors of all time.
Couldn't agree more.
I love it. That's like where my interest in novels came about. My dad used to throw my books away. I would get in trouble I would go to the library and I would steal books and bring them home to read them and hide them underneath my bed in a shoebox and not do my schoolwork. And I was just so obsessed with military thriller books. And he found out that I was like skipping school to do this stuff. And to me, it's not even a big deal. Like, yeah, at least I'm reading. You know, kids don't even read nowadays, but I still love reading, and I buy my books now. Or I write them. But that was like
it's a good first step.
Yeah. Right. That's where like my interest came from. And of course, when I got out, I did the whole autobiography thing, and that was what it was. But if I could go back and do it again, I would love so much to write the novel series first and just use like the experiences that I had to, make a novel series the way I wanted to make a novel series, as opposed to caveating off of the autobiography series. But it all worked out. And I spend,
random question for you. I'm just curious, as you're talking about the novel series, and this is, I mean, a slightly obscure question, but how did you lay out the story arc? Did you pull it like a skeleton of a story you wanted to tell? Did you write it sequentially? How did you do this as an author?
A story I wanted to tell. And mine is based on, current events, human trafficking, things of that nature. So I based it around that. And I had the character in mind, which is essentially me. And it has started back in 2017 is where I had like the first seed, the mustard seed of what I wanted to do as a novel writer, and with the storyline that I wanted to go on from there. I wrote my first three. novels with the, publishing company, but um, the way they wanted things done, I wasn't really, not for that. I wanted to be a little bit more creative. So I stepped away from it and continued it on my own, on a big whiteboard, 8 hours a day, not 8 hours a day, but
So you
I can
laid
get
it
up.
all out on a whiteboard, kind of
Yep.
like you just kind of and brought the pieces in, and then you write basically what you see on the whiteboard. Okay,
Exactly.
that's
And I
interesting. I
fill in the
always ask,
blanks almost,
yeah,
almost fill it in as I go. Not as I go, but like I have a general outline, the setting, where I want it to take place, where I want them to go, who's going to be involved, who I want to die, who do I want to save, what's the end game, or is there ever an end game in order to keep it going? So like the way I'm writing my series now, it's don't want to give too much away, but when you think that the problem is solved, something else comes at the end to introduce the next novel series. And I keep
very Tom
playing.
Clancy. I like it.
Yeah, I play along those lines, right? Where you think it's like, oh, it's
Yeah,
resolved. No, but introduces a new character or another plot, or you have to go here to this next place, next location where it's taking place is in Saudi Arabia, um, which is a really cool place, I guess, to learn about and base some characters around Saudi Arabia, the human trafficking, drug trafficking. The book before that was in Mexico, drug trafficking and how it ties in with the Central Intelligence Agencies, national security agencies here in America, and the drug smuggling, the cartels, and human trafficking. How certain people and organizations benefit financially from it,
yep,
and yeah. So
yep.
I like that storyline of if I were in a fictional world, if there were no rules, how could I uncover something and how could I go about, getting justice for people who should never be in these situations? And if it's involving, saving children, then yes, no questions asked, whatever it takes. So that's where the mindset of my books come from.
Wouldn't it be nice if they let us do that?
Dude, don't even. You speak it into existence enough, it'll happen, and I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it.
That's my baseline is as long as you're not abusing people. If you want to abuse yourself, I'm not going to get in
Yeah,
your way.
yeah.
If you start abusing people, specifically kids, God, I will unleash my
You
imagination
have to.
upon you.
You have
Yeah,
to. And I think that's the only way to deter it, if not almost stop it completely. I'm sure it wouldn't stop completely. The only way to stop that to completely is to cut the head off the snake. But I think you could detour a lot of people from wanting to dive into that. It's a sick world, learning about human trafficking to even
it's
write
horrible.
these
Yeah.
novels. It's a sick world, dude. I like my kid, he used to play this game, Roblox. And I'm doing some research and I'm learning about the what's going on that game.
Yeah.
And I've read some
Or the
stuff.
Minecraft, the
Minecraft,
strip
yeah.
clubs,
Yep.
the prostitute. It's insane.
I had no idea it existed. So I started,
Same.
it's disgusting, dude. It's just,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
don't
it's
think
right
we're
there.
doing enough. I don't think we're doing enough.
Yeah. Well, this is I really appreciate and love laws. And sometimes I'm like, can I just get a pass
Right?
for
Yeah.
24 hours?
And you should be able to. I think there should be a purge, at least the world would be a different
Oh,
place.
oh, I know. I know. What do you want to leave people with? I want to be respectful of your time. Where can people find your novel series?
Everything's on Amazon. Just type it in on Amazon. Reaper, The Board, the next novel, which comes out, I believe, it's right before Christmas. Maybe the 17th. It's right before Christmas. Reaper, A Pale Horse. And if you've ever come across the Book of Revelations, what the pale horse represents, yeah, death. And he's definitely bringing death with him to seek justice for, yeah, a lot, the innocent. Something I would like to leave, dude. That's always a tough one, man. That's always a tough one, and it's always I don't know. It just sounds so cliche to me, even when I think about it. But I mean it, you know. Just be kind, man. Be kind. Like, take it day by day. Yeah. Day by day. Rambo said that. Day by day, man. Day by day.
Yeah. No,
It's
it might sound cliche, but I tell you what, that's another thing that I have found to be almost resoundingly true, is that the people who have been around the most violence or who are capable of the most violence are the ones looking to use it the least.
Yep.
I'd rather, like, I don't know how many times, not that I'm a violent person, but like,
Me neither.
driving with somebody will cut me off and my son will be like, wow, what a piece of shit. I'm like, hey man, we don't know what kind of day they're having. Maybe they're late, right? Or bump somebody in a bar. You're like, you know what? You are so good looking. I am so unattractive. You are so smart. I am so stupid. Let me buy you another beer. It's like, I'd rather go that route than any other confrontational aggravate. It's like, be kind, man. It solves so many more problems.
Yep. Keeps a lot of trouble, headaches out the way too. To be kind, man. And you never know what somebody else is going through or what they're capable of doing in that moment. I think that a lot of lives will be saved.
Yeah.
A lot of lives will be saved.
It's later in life, I came to that one of trying to see the world through other people's eyes and maybe just take a breath and maybe even just try to think about what could be leading them to this place. And also, is it worth it? Because the answer is almost always no.
Exactly. And I've learned it, speaking on that, like 10 minutes after whatever, like I've already forgotten about it,
Totally.
I've already forgotten about it and it wasn't even a big deal, Most of the stuff that we think, is a big deal really is in hindsight. And you look back on it years from now and you won't remember it, So day by day, live in the moment. It's not that big of a deal. We're only here for a short trip, man. Very short trip. Enjoy it. We don't get a chance to do it again.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. To learn more about Nick and his work, be sure to follow him on X at IrvingNick33, all normal spelling, and 33 are numbers, as opposed to spelling it out. Thank you again for listening to Change Agents, an Ironclad original, proudly presented by our spicy friends over at Firecracker Farm. See you all next week with an all-new episode and an all-new guest. I'll see you then.
They were ghosts. Who are these guys?
I've never heard this before.
Right behind me, we have armed police. They're ready for sort of riot patrol.
I'm Sean Ryan, and I'm hosting the new Ironclad original, Target Intelligence PSYOP.
We're not framing history correctly.
Has the government conducted secret UAP crash retrieval programs, yes or no?
Yes.
It's an Ironclad original.
An Ironclad original.
An Ironclad original.
Ironclad original.
An Ironclad original.
An Ironclad original.